Hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life. Today we will be talking about the PM2 Ultra that I have in front of me. Now those of you who are familiar with the Spyderco lineup will have noticed that this looks a little bit different because this actually has a button here. A standard Paramilitary 2 will feature a compression lock, but this one has a button lock. And that is because this is the PM2 Ultra modified by BladesWeLove. It is a special version unique to BladesWeLove, and when I saw that they had this button, I just had to jump on it. Now let me just tell you guys that I've not experienced a PM2 beforehand. The closest knife that I've experienced to the PM2 is the Para 3. So now as we kick things off, let's start with a size comparison with some pretty common knives. So the first knife that I have is a PM3, and here we go, size comparison of the PM2 and the PM3. Next up is the CRKT Pilar. And last but not least, in this video, we're going to be using the SMOK as a size comparison as well. There we go. We could see that the PM2 is the largest out of all of these so far. But the reason why I'm using the SMOK and the PM3 as a size comparison, I mean, CRKT Pilar is just because it's a common pocket knife. It's because the PM2 Ultra is kind of like a marriage of both the SMOK and the Paramilitary 2, and I just have this here because I wanted to show you guys the compression lock. So what I have here is a Paramilitary 3. It is basically a smaller version of the PM2, but it's also got the compression lock. So those of you who are unfamiliar, this is how the compression lock works. You just disengage the lock by pushing this in like that. That's how you close the lock or disengage the lock on a Paramilitary 2 or a Para 3. So I'm going to put this aside now. Let's talk about the SMOK. So the SMOK features a flipper tab, a very well done flipper tab if I may add. And then it features this button closure. Now, in here technically is a compression lock, but the compression lock is activated or actuated via a button on the outside. So just push down the button and then you will disengage the lock so that you could close up your knife. This is basically the same idea where you deploy the knife the standard method, but instead of having to push your finger in there to disengage the compression lock, you just press down on the button and you will disengage it. And this modification is really well done, I must say, by BladesWeLove. I think that it is an awesome mod, but I did do some touch-ups to it. Now first off is the price. The price of this is $249 US, and that price will vary depending on the options that you choose. BladesWeLove actually offers you a standard, kind of like a standard version. So a standard PM2 Ultra will feature custom G10 or micarta scales and a titanium button for a lock release. Now the steel on this one here is S30V. I'm not sure if there are going to be any other variations for the steel, but at least this is what I got. And also on top of that, I got the titanium hardware version and of course the titanium lanyard loop or lanyard tube. If you want to, they actually offer a lanyard plug, which is quite cool looking. It's flush, so those of you who don't like the lanyard tube can opt to have that instead. Now also the scales that I ordered were originally jade like that, like jade G10, but then of course, you know, I had to red dye it. So for this version, I actually red dyed it purple gradient going to black. I initially dyed it in the same exact color as the SMOK over here, but then I decided that I wanted something a little bit different, so I went for this instead, and I have no regrets whatsoever. So guys, the PM2, let's talk about the PM2. What are my thoughts on the PM2? I want to share that the PM3 is my favorite EDC knife because it's got, in my opinion, the perfect size and the perfect ergos. So the ergos for the PM2 is actually pretty good as well. It is the original larger version of the Para 3, and I'm also aware that a lot of people actually prefer the PM2 over the Para 3. Now for me, it's because I have slightly smaller hands. I mean, you guys know I've got Asian hands, so this is a little bit bigger than what I'm used to or what I'm comfortable with. It is a lot more real estate for my hand to actually hold on to, and the blade of course is a bit longer. I'm not going to go into full details about the blade length and everything. I'll just put everything on the screen because the Para 2 is a pretty well-known knife. It's very popular and I think most people already know the specs of it. But what I want to do is really talk to you guys about the Ultra mod. So I'm going to put all of this aside so that you won't be distracted anymore, and let's just focus on the PM2 Ultra. Now for those of you with a sharp eye, you would have noticed that the engraving on the blade seems to be a little bit different, right? That's because this is actually based off the left-handed PM2, because if you have a right-handed PM2, then the compression lock would be on the other side instead. The fact that the lock side is here already tells you that this is a lefty PM2, and of course the engravings give everything away too. Most of the time the Spyderco logo will be on the show side, but this being the show side has the Spyderco logo on the lock side, which is, yeah, a telltale sign. Now also, I opted for the 3D milled clip version. There is a short lynch clip version as well as a standard clip version, but I gotta say that this 3D milled clip is really well done. Now I've always used MXG gear clips for my Spyderco knives, but I wanted something a little bit different because I don't know if I wanted this PM2 to be deep carried. So I went for this and I do not have any regrets. I think it's really well made. Let me just close up the blade so I can kind of show you the space from the scale to the clip. See that very small amount of gap, but it makes putting this knife into your pocket and removing it really swift and really easy. Absolutely no bite at all for your pocket. It doesn't rip anything, and of course the G10 scales are also finished off very well, so it's really smooth, but it offers a nice amount of grip when you're handling it. So all in all, I think that BladesWeLove did a good job here. Really, the scales are done really well. The slot for the buttons is very well chamfered. But one of the things I did, besides taking the scales off so I could dye it, is to add a washer to the base of the button. Now the button actually can be removed, but I put a washer there at the base of the button because I felt it was quite hard for me to press the button all the way in. Now what I really was going for is to be able to depress the button and get a smooth unlock like that. Prior to that, I really had to jam the button in really hard, and so by doing that, by extending the button, coming out a little bit more, it made things a little bit easier for me, especially when I'm closing the knife just like that. So it's something that I personally wanted to do. Another thing that I wanted to mention is a little bit of a gripe, but the scales aren't like a perfect fit for the liners on the inside. When you actually open it up, and I'm just lazy to take it out right now because I've already installed the lanyard, but when you open it up, you'll realize that there's a very small gap in between the liners and the scales itself, or the lip of the scales, and I think that that could have been done a little bit better because I've seen very beautiful fitting third-party scales, like for example these scales for the Para 3 made by Aramis. Now another thing that I wanted to share is that on the back here of the scale, there is actually a separate slot. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but maybe there's a slight difference in color here. There's a slot actually milled out that is supposed to let the hex screw on the back that holds the button in sit into and make everything flush. So if you were to line up the lock side liner with the scale on the back and then try and press it in, it works perfectly fine. But now that I've installed everything, for some reason it's just not sitting in that slot perfectly. I'm not able to get it as flush as when I haven't installed everything. So maybe that could be a slight offset that could be looked into by BladesWeLove, but to be honest with you guys, it's really a small nitty-gritty gripe. It's a really small gripe on my part. You know, just slight room for improvement. If BladesWeLove is watching this video, then maybe it's something you guys can consider in the future. All in all, I think it's a really cool idea, and I think it's really well executed. I gotta be honest with you guys, when I first saw this on Instagram, and yes, I found out about this via Instagram, I actually had the smock first, and then because I love the smock so much, and I also love the way the button was executed on the compression lock, it was only because of that that I really cared about this button over here. Now some of you probably will not care. I just thought that this was cool. Like, this is a really unique mod. It's like marrying the PM2 and the smock, and I thought that this was so cool, you know. Now I'm able to kind of just depress the button and flick the knife open and flick it closed, just like how I would with a smock, and I think that that's something really fun, you know. It just adds an extra fidget factor. Now I know that this will not appeal to everyone, but it's really just something up my alley, you know. Thought it was really cool. Also, when I saw that Instagram post, I was so inspired and I thought, hey, I could do that too. I really wanted to do it to a Para 3 simply because the Para 3 is my favorite knife, but I realized that there are no lefty Para 3s in the market. Dang it. Now let's talk about the PM2 in general. The PM2 is a slightly larger knife, so for someone like me who has been using smaller knives like the Para 3, I had already gotten used to flicking up with my thumb or deploying the knives with the Spidey flick. It is really simple on a smaller knife, but when I actually handled the Paramilitary 2, I realized that I had to make some adjustments. Now initially I was kind of Spidey flicking it by pinching with my index finger and thumb up here and then trying my best to kind of Spidey flick it like that, but it felt a little bit awkward because there was so much more purchase here at the scale. Then I saw on Instagram and on YouTube that a lot of people were deploying their knives by kind of holding it like that with their thumbs here, or like with the base of the scale near the palm of the hand, and I was thinking, how are they actually, you know, deploying it so well, like with a beautiful quick flick, you know. Like, I'm not able to get it till I actually practice, and I realized that the trick is to have my middle finger all the way into the slot and pushing upwards, like really up this way as opposed to out. When I used to have it on my Para 3, I just used to push it outwards like that and it would just deploy. Maybe because of the way I'm holding it, I'm used to it. But on the Para 2, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't fly out the way I wanted to till I got used to doing this. So just push it upwards and see how much it just improves the flick on that thing. It just flies open like that. So the Para 2, it kind of forced me to change the way I hold the knife, and it's something that I think anyone would have to get used to. If you're using just a Para 3, it's like a smaller knife, and then moving over to trying out the PM2, it's something that you really have to take note of. But all in all, I'm actually enjoying the PM2. As of now, I've been using it for the past 2 weeks. It has not taken over the #1 spot. the Para 3 is still my number one in terms of EDC because it's smaller and it serves its purpose. But I must say that the novelty of this really is something cool and I'm enjoying it so far. Shout out to BladesWeLove for actually doing this mod, man. Pulling it off is already a feat on its own, but to offer it for anyone who wants one, I think it's really cool. I just wanted to make this video to tell you guys that this thing exists and I think it's cool. Now, I'm quite happy that this is my first PM2. I don't know if it's going to be my last because I'm so addicted to the Para 3, but this is actually quite a compelling purchase. No regrets. Maybe a little bit more expensive than the usual because of the mods that are required, but if you are feeling ambitious and you want to try this mod out yourself, make sure that you first of all get a lefty PM2. But apart from that, really, once again, shout out to BladesWeLove. Great customer service, by the way. Also, a quick story time that I want to tell you guys about. So, apparently they don't offer international shipping. So, you know, for me, usually when I buy knives, I try and use a freight forwarding service. But I messed up. I messed up because the address tied to my PayPal account is my Singaporean address. But Steve and the team over at BladesWeLove were kind enough to offer me international shipping. So that was my bad. But they went out of their way, above and beyond their service requirements, and actually shipped this over to me. Of course, I had to pay for international shipping prices, but hey, you know, I got it and I'm not regretting this purchase at all. I'm actually enjoying it quite a lot. Thanks, Steve. Thank you so much once again, BladesWeLove. Awesome job, all in all. I really like it. And that's about it. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope I didn't go on too much of a ramble here. It's really not about the Para 2. It is about the PM2 Ultra. Once again, an awesome deploy for you guys to see. And that is it. Thank you so much for sticking all the way throughout and sharing in this slice of my life, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you like the content that I'm putting out here on this channel, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot. And if you do subscribe, make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified of any new uploads that I put out. Also, I run a Patreon page. I put a link up here to that. And if you do become a patron of mine, thank you so much in advance. Any support that you show me there is very, very much appreciated. Once again, everyone, this was the PM2 Ultra modified by BladesWeLove. I'll put a link to the website in the description box down below, as well as their Instagram account, because that's how I found out about this thing. In case you guys are interested in getting one for yourself, they are still making these, they are still selling these, and I believe that they are based on custom orders. So just check them out. All you gotta do is just put a $10 deposit first. That's what I did, and then when it was ready, they collected the rest of the payment and processed the shipping. So really good customer service on their part. And once again, I got the version with the 3D milled clip in silver, titanium hardware, jade G10 scales that I've dyed myself from black to purple, and all of the PM2 Ultras feature a titanium button. Of course, if you want more customization, you can hit them up because they are known to provide customization services, like if you want to acid wash your blade or something like that, or anodize these hardware if you want. And of course, the bead is separately purchased. This is a combat bead. I think it's called a V4 concealed bead, and I think it's awesome. And with that, we've come to the end of this video, everyone. Thank you so much once again, and I'll catch all of you in the next slice of my life. Until then, everyone, gaga. Let me just do this one more time. Gaga, boost.